Hi and welcome back to another fault analysis workshop where each week we pick a fault and we go through and analyse it. So you've probably already done one of your worksheets. If you haven't got one of these worksheets, look in the description below. You can download this and you can complete it for any fault. So the fault this week we're going to be looking at is meeting situations. So on a DL25 that would be marked as in the judgment section, judgment meeting other traffic. So let's create like a little word picture. Well, actually, better than a word picture, I've drawn it. So on the box, you've got a little place where you can draw like the fault, what was happening. So if we just have a look at this, hopefully you can see it on there. So this is us, the little learner. Got a row of parked cars on the left and the right, and there's a bus coming towards us. And there is a bus stop here as well with some people waiting at the bus. So the learner, us, have driven into the narrowing of the road, and the bus has already committed. So that's the picture, the scenario, if you like. So let's go through and go through fill out the form and go through all the boxes. So if we look at the first one, risk. So we have to sort of think about what are the risks caused by this fault. You know, why is it a bad idea to be in this situation? So the ideas I've got down is that we're going to cause the bus to brake, potentially quite hard. Now think if you was a passenger on that bus, coming down the stairs, because it's a double-decker bus, thinking about getting off your bus stop and the bus has to brake hard. So there could be risk, danger to passengers on that bus. Other risk, we might need to reverse because the bus driver wouldn't reverse in that situation, very unlikely. So it'd be expected that any cars that have made the mistake, if the road's too narrow, to reverse back. So once you're reversing on a public road, there's always risk is going to go up. Just the fact that you're reversing, you've got limited vision, people coming up behind, etc. The other risk, let's say there was no reversing, let's say they just squeezed through the gap. So now we're squeezing very close to parked cars, but there's a risk of maybe doors could open, kids could run out, etc. And another sort of risk I thought of, well, maybe there could be like a bit of a standoff, a bit of a road rage incident between two cars or two vehicles that have met each other and no one's backing off. So again, this form is getting you to explore and think about potential, you know, the what ifs, what could happen if this situation went unchecked. You know, we need to help the people understand what the risks are, etc. So by exploring this and going through, sort of get it all out there, get your ideas out on paper. And as I've said before, you can do many of these sheets and file them in a little, have a little repertoire of faults and how you'd fix them and analyse faults. So moving on to the next box, let's look at the intervention. Now, prevention is always better than the cure. So, you know, we're thinking here in the intervention, what would we have done at the time to keep this situation? Well, any good instruction would be preventative in this situation and using Q&A to talk to the people about this emerging situation. Maybe questions like how are you going to deal with this bus would be a good preventative question to ask to sort of focus your pupils' mind to prevent getting into this situation. There is, of course, the reactive intervention, i.e. the situation's gone on and developed into a problem, and then it's time for the instructor to instruct and say stop, wait here, wait behind that blue car, for example. Or if that moment of opportunity is gone, then it's obviously going to be down to physically stop them, because we don't want to cause that bus to brake hard. We need to be nipping that in the bud earlier to prevent these risks from escalating to actual danger and harm to other people. So switch over to the back. Now we're going to look at the analysis. So in this section, you're being encouraged to try and get to the root cause of the problem and think, what are the possible causes of this mistake? So I've suggested you list at least 10 possible causes as to why your pupil went into this situation, had the meeting issue. So the ones I've got down here, starting from the top. Number one, the pupil thought the bus was going to pull into that bus stop. So that they thought it was okay to continue in this situation. Number two, the pupil thought there was enough space. So they thought by continuing into the row parked cars, they could squeeze through the gap. Or maybe, if we dig a bit deeper, maybe the pupil was going to stop, but in a position that we wouldn't have done because there wasn't enough room to let the bus out. So it could just be a perception thing, a judgment thing, that the pupil just thought there was enough space, as number two. Number three, the pupil thought it was their right of way. They thought, no, that, this is my bit of road, I'm going, the bus will have to wait, the bus has made the mistake, I'm going. Number four, people didn't see the bus until too late, so they just wasn't aware of the bus. Maybe, if we dig a little bit deeper into that, why didn't they see the big double-decker bus coming towards them? Was there a low sun? Was there something obscuring their vision? Were the windows misting up? These are possible causes that we just want to explore to make sure why that people didn't see the bus coming. Was it just a case that the pupil just isn't looking far enough up the road? They're sort of just looking to a couple of car lengths in front of their car and not really planning up the road enough. Number five, going too fast. So they're going a bit quick for the situation. By the time they've arrived at the meeting situation, they're going too quick to stop in time and they've overcommitted. Number six, they didn't want to stop. Maybe they've got a fear of that if they stop, they're going to stall and roll back. I always think when kids learn to pedal a push bike, they don't want to put their feet on the ground, don't they? When they're going. Don't get out of the way. Everyone move, because they just want to keep going because it was hard work to get the thing moving in the first place. I've experienced this with pupils where they just sort of have this thing as like the faff of having to put the clutch down, find a gear, get all the bite point, do all of that coordination and getting the feet sorted out. It's just too much energy and they just think, do you know what, I'm going now, just keep everyone move, just let me go through. That could be the reason. And number seven, thought that there was a gap on their side. They were going to go around the first parked car on the left and thought there wasn't, but thought there was a gap and they could pull in and let the bus go through. Next one, that the pupil was going to pull over in the bus stop on the wrong side of the road. The thing is that there's no end to the list that you could make here because it is what's inside your pupil's head as to why they did these, the possible reasons, and we can only really get to the bottom of that by talking to them and analysing, hence the purpose of this form. So the next section is to look at the remedial action. So as we've said, by analysing, we're trying to get to the single root cause of why this problem happened, because once we've got the root cause, then we're in a much better position to get the correct remedy going forwards to fix it, finding the right tool for the job to fix this little problem rather than making assumptions. So remedial action, we want to get to the root cause of this fault, and my line of thought here is to look around the 5 skills of driving. So is it a car control issue? Is it a judgment issue? Awareness, anticipation, or is it a planning issue? Because if we kind of dig into those, and then we can get the right fix for this problem. So for example, if they were worried about stopping the car and the risk of stalling, rolling back, then we need to think about car control. Give them the confidence to be able to do that, and so they don't roll back, and practice that skill. Is it a judgment issue, that their spatial awareness, they thought there was enough room to go through that gap and they've just not allowed enough room, and so we need to think about how could they judge that. Is it an awareness thing? Are they just not looking far enough up the road? Are they not anticipating what other people are going to do? Or bad at anticipation, sort of making assumptions what other people are going to do? Or is it a planning issue? So thinking about what they're going to do in this situation. So let's pick one of those reasons, and then we can go down a course of remedial action. So I've just picked number 3. So my number 3 was the pupil thought it was there right away. How many times have we heard our pupils say that? So so I would then be having, this is reactive, this is after the situation. I'd be having a conversation to my pupil about priority, how priority works in that given situation. I'd also want to talk to them about their attitudes towards other road users. So, because often people think, well, someone's made a mistake, I'm just going to go anyway. It's their problem, and not sort of helping and having a bad attitude towards other people's mistakes. So yeah, I would definitely want to be talking about priority and their attitude towards other road users. We'd explain things. I'd want to help the pupil see things from another person's point of view. So I'd want to encourage them to think, well, if they were that bus driver, where are you going to put that bus? What about your passengers coming down the stairs? Can you brake hard? You put that person in quite a difficult situation from what you did, and they're like, oh yeah. To help them fully understand the risks, the consequences of what they did. So let's say it was that they just didn't understand priority. Then I would now refocus the lesson. I'd have an explanation about the rules, so they understand priority. And now we'd now refocus that lesson towards awareness, anticipation, planning. Go practice in similar areas, so they've got similar situations, and think about how they could avoid, through their planning skills, how they could avoid the next meeting situation by looking further up the road, being more aware of what's coming towards them, being aware of what's behind. Because remember, in meeting situations, they might go for a gap of a single car, but they've got 3 cars behind them. So they need to be sort of more aware of their full surroundings to help them. And encourage them to think about anticipation. Ask things, well, what do you think the bus is going to do here? Do you think the bus is going to go into that bus? Well, we're not sure, so let's just wait back here to sort of help them, guide them. And that would be my remedial action for that. So now let's get into the final section, the questions. We've already discussed that we've got proactive questions, haven't we? Then there's the proactive before the event to prevent it happening. And then there's, of course, our reactive questions after the event, once it's happened. So let's just sort of have a look at that. Proactive questions, as I already said, would sort of saying, what do you think about this bus? Who's got priority here? Where are you going to wait? Things like that to prevent the situation. But once it's happened, and sort of deep dive and dig into the analysis of this fault with the pupil, I would be asking questions. Get the car stationary if you need to. I would suggest in a busy area where there's lots of parked cars to talk to them about this whilst they're dealing with more meeting situations where you're probably going to get more problems. So best just to pull in, have a little chat, help them understand, change the plan, adapt the plan, and go forward and do what you've agreed to do. Yeah, so sort of questions I would ask there is like, do you understand why I stopped you there? Tell me, get them to tell you that. Try not to lead them, try and listen to what they're saying and encourage them to talk. So tell me why you think I stopped you there. What would be the possible consequences had I have not done that? At which point did you notice the bus coming towards us? Let's try and think. Where were you looking at that point? Were you distracted by anything? Could you see? How was you dealing with the low sun, for example? Or you can ask a question like, what did you think the bus was going to do? Did you think the bus was going to pull into that bus stop? What were your thoughts there? Ask, listen, and then dig deeper with your questions. So So yeah, so that kind of sums that little fold up. Before I go, because I did print it off, I just want to say thank you to Kerry, who had sent me in their homework. So thanks, good. I've had a look at that, very good, and I will get back to you on that. If you watching this want to send in your stuff, you can email it to me, that's fine. I'll be happy to have a look at it and help you. Please, if you haven't done already, like the video, subscribe for future content, because I'm looking to do one of these videos each week on a different fault. And so if you've got a fault that you'd like covered, if you leave it in the comments section below, I'll be sure to have a look at that, and I'll kind of tally them up, and where I get the most sort of demand, I'll do that video next. Meeting, obviously done this week, was quite a popular one. People wanted anticipation planning, meeting. So so hopefully you've enjoyed that and you like that. So yeah, thanks for your support. Please like, subscribe, leave comments about what you'd like to cover next, and be sure to go in the notes, because I will make sure there's a blank one of these that you can just print off yourself, and yeah, print as many off and do these for as many faults as you like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.